Hi, everyone. This is Inside Leaders Heads, and I'm here with Robin Breckenridge. It's been a while because of the move from hell, as we all know. So basically, we're going to lead into a journey. And here's Inside Leaders Heads. Oh, sorry, I skipped that. So Inside Leaders Heads, finding your voice, and don't be a fish trying to climb a tree. It's from one of my favorite misquotes. It was been attributed to Einstein. He didn't say it, though. I found that out like in the last year, which bad on me because I named my company after that. It's called Einsteins of Creativity, and it's all based on that quote. I'm like, oh, well. But I still like what Einstein stands for. So,
Someone said it. Someone said it. It was important.
Yeah, someone said it. No, but it's really cool. I mean, have you ever heard it? So it's
I have. Yeah, so, I love it.
Yeah. Because so basically, if you expect a fish to climb a tree, or it expects itself, then it's going to be unsuccessful all of its life because fish don't climb trees. So don't be a fish trying to climb a tree. Just be a fish. Swim. Do whatever. So basically, the way we start this, it's like I go, hey, this is Robin Breckenridge, and why did I want to interview her? Because I saw her on Pep Talk with Tisha Hammond, and it was just so. If you saw one of my latest posts, it was on the 7 words for love from Greek, and one of them is agape, which is universal love. So to me, most often, except if it's my significant other, or maybe my dog or whatever, or things like our family, most of the love I usually feel is agape. And agape is universal. And so it's when I'm in the presence of a person, whether I'm talking directly to them or I'm just with them and they make me feel bigger or better about myself or just loved, or they kind of emanate love. Well, to me, Robin's one of those people. So when she was talking with Tisha, that was just like, wow, I got to talk to this person. So that's the reason I wanted to interview her. And so then we would go into, I know everybody hates this, but the elevator speech. So Robin's going to tell us who she is. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be 90 seconds like all the rules and stuff. So Robin, take it away.
Okay. So yeah, mine is like simple, but what I do is not simple. So I'm a certified life and relationship coach. So essentially what I do is help people have better relationships to themselves and others. Themselves being very important, others being people, and sometimes things, because everything is a relationship. We have a relationship to our job. We have a relationship to our passions. Like everything's a relationship. So essentially having better relationships, and really that equates to having a more peaceful and purpose-driven life.
Cool. I like it. Purpose-driven life? Wasn't that Thoreau? No, who was the person? What's the famous thing about purpose-driven life? Is that Thoreau? No, I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
I'm not sure, but a lot of people talk about it, and it's really, something that I've embodied in my life. And I know we're going to talk about purpose and passion today, but yeah. It's something that it kind of steers me when I get off track, is like, go back to the purpose, right? And you'll always get back on track.
Yeah, the why. Mm-hmm. And so in case you don't know, here's a secret of a live show. The guests and the hosts actually talk before the show, just to kind of prime it up. So in our conversation previous, I was talking about this course I did. So in there, I have this thing called passion-driven purpose equals focused action. So yeah, to me, that's why passion and purpose are a big deal to me, as they should be to most people. But there's no shoulds. No shoulds. Don't shit on
yourself.
That's right. So first we'll talk. So I have 3 sentences less for passion and 3 sentences less for purpose. And then kind of this is about the 15th, you're my 15th guest on the show. So people smush them together. So you can, however you want to handle it, just kind of talk about your passion and purpose, and then we'll delve deeper.
My passion and purpose has always been helping people. It's shifted and changed over my life. Initially, it was children. So I started off in teaching, and I taught emotionally impaired kids and teens. So behavior, emotions have always been something that I've been drawn to. In addition, I love creating. Like, I'm a creative, and I thought throughout my whole life I wasn't creative because I couldn't create things with my hands. Like I come from a family of artists. I can't cut a straight line or draw a straight line. So I didn't think I was creative, but really I love building things, even when I get in with a client and kind of figuring out what's going on in their life and then putting things together. So teaching, helping people, and creating things have always been kind of the core of my purpose and passion.
That's great. So were you like in the school system, or people sent their kids to you separately?
No, so I taught in a public school. I'm in
Okay.
Michigan. Yeah, so I taught in a public school and I taught all different grade levels. But the most impactful experience was I taught in a juvenile justice center. So I taught incarcerated kids.
No.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I said, sorry, I a long time ago when I was a therapist as well, I taught at Midas, which is in Seattle. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's Madison Youth Detention. I don't remember what the A is for, school. So it's kids that were like one step away, like one toe away from getting expelled from the Seattle school system. And they'd go to the school, and it was all, I know you're big on boundaries, so it was all about setting boundaries. They couldn't gain clothes, colors, whatever. It was awesome. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to divert from it, but that's why I said no.
Yeah.
Connection.
Yeah. It was profound. I had an experience where I got to go through all of the files of the kids that were incarcerated in my class. I taught geometry, which was actually scarier to me than teaching in jail because I'm a math person. And, when I was going through files, it was every single one of them came from toxicity, dysfunctional homes. And so seeing that, the attachments we have growing up and in the family systems that we're in really play a part in how we interact in our life. And so, we'll kind of jump ahead a little bit in some of those questions, but, I had my own struggles as well. So I could identify with those kids. Deep down, I had a, emotionally impaired little person inside of me that I was carrying around everywhere. So that passion really aligned, being that I had to learn how to live a better life myself to impart it to other people.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of those impaired children, which is why I got into therapy for kids. Mm-hmm. But so cool. So now we're just going to kind of do the origin story, and we're going to describe the event or series, which you kind of delved on a little bit, but we can go in deeper. And if not, we can just move on. But what was the origin story of you? You said you felt a little, like the inside of you, there was, that kind of feeling and stuff. But is there, you don't have to go into it more, but is there more to it, or whatever you want?
Yeah, the origin story. I mean, how I ended up in the passion that I'm in now, which is absolutely my passion. I mean, I live, breathe it. I'm so blessed to do it. Which is really helping people shift their patterns in life. And I hope, because right now my clients are mostly adults, but I hope to go back to some of those younger demographics and kind of figure out how to put the things that I teach adults back into what we teach younger people, so that we don't have to clean up the mess when they're older.
Right. Well, do you think it's easier? I mean, to deal with children because they're closer to it, or no?
No, doing this work with children or adults, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't think it's easier, because I think that every single person, be it a child or an adult, it's different. Everybody's different. I've had some people that come to me and aren't really wanting to do the work, and that's really challenging to work with. But, both are different. But I think that when you create a safe space for adult or a child, they'll open up, and it'll be more relevant for them to put the work in.
Okay. Hey, can we explore that thought a little more? So what do you mean they come to you now? Well, I thought you were on the kind of your classes and stuff. People came to you, they weren't assigned to you, but they came to you. So people come to you knowing what you do, and they're not ready to do the work?
I've worked with so many people now that the majority of people that come to me are ready to change. And that's kind of the prerequisite to work. But
Mm.
the work that I do, we're really going back into your life, looking at where the patterns first developed. Even talking about boundaries is a very activating subject for people, because sometimes when you get into reality in your relationships and you have to have boundaries, you've got to leave your marriage, or you have to shift this codependent relationship you've had with your mother for 30 or 40 years, right? So
Yep.
sometimes when we really get into the work, people get scared, right? I mean, that's the nice thing about coaching is they've got me. I mean, I'm even available to my clients in between sessions so that they have someone to lean on, but sometimes it feels like maybe not the right time for some people.
Right. Yeah, I
Mhm.
get that. Yeah, I mean, to me, um, so I don't know how you feel about this, but after I say what I say, you can respond. When I was a therapist, what I found is there's a lot of, I'm going to get in trouble, therapists who seem to want to go into psychology and therapy mostly for themselves. And they had to work on themselves. And it's kind of, they work through the clients, which, yeah. But to me, our society is messed up. It used to be we actually took care of the people who had like psychological issues and stuff like that. But it's my opinion, based on what I did for 3.5 years, that most people, most adults, don't need to be like, don't need drugs, and they don't need to be institutionalized. And mostly what they need is around boundaries, because people, for whatever reason, we don't learn about those. And that to me is helps with a purpose driven life and helps to a healthy life. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And I think like as a mental health professional, you can only take people as far as you've taken yourself. Right. So like that's kind of why you have to live the work and really, have been through it yourself. But yeah, absolutely. I think that, medication serves a purpose for some people, but I
Oh
think
yeah, definitely, yeah.
yeah, we replace it as a band-aid a lot of times instead of like having to do the kind of more, the deep work that's underneath some of the things. And I think generally speaking, we're not taught how to manage and tolerate our feelings.
Right.
And it causes a mess in our lives all over the place. So, I mean, as simple as that might sound, like learn how to manage and tolerate your feelings, what I've found and what I teach my clients is that it's not that simple and it isn't that hard. So, like, we do kind of have to go backwards and see what's activating you and why, and then give you these new tools like boundaries and ways to manage and tolerate your feelings that don't hurt you and other people. While you're developing a healthy relationship with yourself, because that's another thing we're not taught,
Yep.
right? Like these simple things. And I think that I've had a lot of clients that have, gotten off medication and been able to live really like successful, consistent, lives and with the tools that they have and practicing those tools.
Yeah. I mean, that just brings, I really love, I mean, they're both passed away, but I really love my parents for many reasons. But one of the reasons is I was one of those kids that could easily been put on drugs and could have easily been put in the special classes.
Mm-hmm.
I have like ADD, I've got dyslexia, I'm on the spectrum, blah, 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 and a couple other things I don't want to go into, but they could have put me on drugs and put me in a special classroom. They did not. And I just, what's that guy? There used to be like a one-armed pitcher in the major leagues, and almost every interview, it's like he expected it. Almost every interviewer would go, "What's it like to pitch in the major leagues with one arm?" And he's like, "I've only ever had one arm, so what's it like to interview someone with a microphone? I don't know." Mm-hmm. And so to me, since I didn't have drugs or whatever, and I stayed in the regular classroom, I don't know. I learned how to read with dyslexia. I learned ADD. It's like, hey, this is it. So I figured it out. So I thank them for that every day, even though they're not around to tell in person. But yeah, cool. So
I think what's my origin? Did I tell my origin? So just really quickly, the origin is that.
Oh yeah, I guess I forgot. I was so intrigued by what you were saying. It's like, oh yeah, the question about origin. Okay, sorry.
I remember. The origin
and obviously Robin's the host and I'm the guest.
we're tag teaming here. My origin is that I struggled myself emotionally in life. Even though from the outside everything looked great, internally I kept repeating the same patterns. I was very frustrated with myself, and I ended up, hitting like an emotional bottom where you just kind of feel like it's sink or swim. And so I went and got some help and learned a really great system of tools. And then it shifted my purpose, right? So I went into this coaching industry to kind of, I didn't know that was ever going to be my life's path, but it ended up that way. And because I'm so passionate to bring these tools to other people, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to struggle. I know anxiety, depression, the dark, all of it. So it's absolutely my purpose to help people come out of that, because I know no matter what you've been through or how long you've been doing it, you can change and things can get better.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't ever be your client, but I feel like we might be friends in the long term. But I thank you for that, because there's people that need it, and there's so many people that have the same or similar origin story, but they never get to the point where they help people. It's all about themselves, and they get kind of not narcissistic, because that's like a clinical diagnosis, but they just get really self-centered, and it's like, anyway. So thank you for learning about yourself, getting through it, and now helping others. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then that you already kind of got into, how your passions and purpose drive you and your thoughts every day. But if you want to delve into that, we can. By the way, I'm narrating the questions because I like to rip and we'll talk about this too, because I remember when you were with Tisha, you're going to like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I don't know how to do that. And me and one other person and a couple other people, well, we can help you with that. So the reason I'm doing this narration is I want to pull the audio from this and just put it straight into my podcast, so you can multi-purpose stuff. But anyway, that's technical stuff. So we're just going to get back to saying.
That's amazing.
So the drive.
Yeah. So I have woven my purpose into every aspect of my life, and I feel really blessed for that. So, it's in my relationships, in my work, in my job. And it's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, I truly live and breathe what I teach other people. And because I'm constantly committed to my own personal growth, like I'm always learning. So there's new things to kind of bring to other people. So I feel like it's just woven into who I am now.
I mean, I feel that too. That's why I got the agape.
Yeah. And I will say though, this wasn't always my life. Like I wouldn't have answered that question that way. I spent a long time of my life feeling lost. And even though connected to my purpose, because I was working with children and helping, just not to my self-esteem wasn't there. And I don't know that I believed in myself to do more than I was doing. So it's, definitely a shift from where I've been before.
Yeah. I mean, we all get lost sometimes, as long as you come back. It's kind of like the success thing. If you get lost, just find yourself one more time, then you get lost. So success is trying again and succeeding one more time, then you fail. So cool.
That's the truth.
So then, so this, you kind of described this too, but I really think part of learning, and when you're lost, I think this is a way to go. You see how others see you. So you kind of, even you can't find yourself internally, kind of like watch the world, how it reacts. Like, wow, I didn't expect the word to react that. What in me is causing that? But in a good way too. So it could be negative, like that's not how I want to be, or positive. So how do you live it, and how do you see the world sees you?
I think, like I said, living and breathing it, like I believe energy doesn't lie. So I feel like I bring a certain energy that people feel is authentic, because I really am living it and believe it. And, I have a lot of times where like my clients will tell me, oh, you're so together. Oh, I can't believe you ever struggled, Or if I'm telling a story about how like I'm not feeling confident in a certain area, they'll be like, you not confident? And so it's really interesting that sometimes we can feel a certain way, but it's not necessarily what we're putting out or how other people experience us, So I was just talking on on a podcast about confidence, and I was just saying, like, I don't always feel confident. Like, I don't necessarily define myself off of the feelings internally, but
Right.
a lot of times I'll look at my action, like, oh, I showed up to that thing that was scary. And it's like, oh, that is actually a confident action, even though I might not feel confident in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's all it takes is showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I used to teach at university for 21 years, and because of that, I had a long-standing relationship with 2 universities, and they're so weird. Universities are weird. So just because I had a long-standing relationship with them, they'd be like, so Mark, we're thinking of doing a new course in service management. You want to take that over? I'm like, have you seen my resume? I don't know any. Oh, you could do it. That's fine. And so I'd put together their curriculum and be like, coming in and just showing up and be like, I don't know anything about service management. I've read 3 books before you read them. That's about it. But what I found is by being authentic, and like whenever I was super nervous, I would just tell the class, like, hey, you know what? This is the first time I'm teaching this class. Yeah, I'm a couple steps ahead of you. Yes, I know I have more experience in life. Obviously, I'm older than all of you, but we're going to learn this together. Is that cool? And they're like, yeah. It's like, yeah. So anyways, showing up. That was all about showing up.
Number 1 step.
Oh yeah. So this is kind of the most selfish question here. And like I said, passion and purpose are a big deal for me. And this doesn't happen until the 3rd person I interviewed, because to me, I'll tell you my point of view, and then we'll see what you think. And it's all 15 people I've interviewed have a different answer. So it's really cool. It's really interesting to me. But I always thought, like, just the work I've done and the tools I've used and all that kind of stuff, that our passions don't really change. We might exercise them in different ways, but like about like age 7 or 8 or whatever, that's our passions. And we can look back at events that happened and go, okay, that was really exciting because this, that, and the other thing, and those would be common. But our purpose will change throughout our life. So my first 3 guests did not agree with one of those statements, and each one of them, it was a different statement. So I'd like to ask leaders, it's like, what do you think? Do you think passions change throughout our life, or are they established early? And then purpose, do they change throughout our life, or do they evolve? What do you think?
So I think that it probably is individual to the person. There might be some people that it doesn't change. I do think that if you are growing, you're not the same person all the time, right? So like who I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm really not that same person. So I have found that my passions, this is okay. The difference between passion and purpose. My passions have changed and evolved with me. I'm still connected and drawn to the same things, right? But like new experiences, new parts of me. My passions have changed. I believe that my purpose, the core of it has kind of stayed the same, which is really I'm in my purpose and aligned when I'm helping people.
Okay. So
but said the people have changed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what do you? Wow, this is pretty interesting. So I guess, what's your definition of passion and definition of purpose? Because I think that might be my issue. Not with you, just with the words and then like how I think about them.
Passions to me are things that you're like drawn to and connected to. So like there's certain creative endeavors. I mean, right now I'm starting a company that is a tech company. It's a mental health based company, but there's a big tech element. I am not a tech person, but creating the websites, doing these things are kind of new passions for me that I didn't believe I was connected to before. Purpose to me is that thing that you do where you completely get out of your monkey mind. Like there's no thoughts going on, like I can't do this. What are people going to think? You are just in alignment and connected to what you're doing. And like the ego part of you, all of that's gone. It's just like connected to the core of who you are.
Okay. So that's what I call flow.
Mm.
And what I wish I could pronounce his name. I could almost spell it. It's that guy. He's positive psychology. His first name's easy. It's Mikhail, but his last name's like like all kinds of vowels and stuff. I should learn how to pronounce it. But he's the first one that brought to the forefront the idea of flow. It's like when we're doing that thing and we don't notice time, we don't notice hardship, we don't notice risk. We're just in the flow. I notice it most like when I'm composing and doing music, and sometimes in conversations. So okay. Cool. I'm gonna have to refine. I'm gonna have to, you know what? I'm gonna have to refine passion, purpose, and bring flow into it, because I think there's three. They kind of overlap in a Venn diagram kind of thing. So I think I agree with what you said. My definition of passion, purpose, and flow are a little different, but I agree with what you said. So,
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, passions to me are kind of like the magnet that draws you toward something.
Yeah, because to me, like, I have a passion statement. It's writing plus tech plus creativity equals passion and fun. So those are my three passions. And then my purpose is to help aspiring authors struggling to complete their first book find their voice, finish their book, and have an impact on the world. So
that's a good purpose.
Yeah, it'll expand. It's just focused on writers right now, but it'll expand because I wanted to limit it, but eventually expand to all creative expression, because I got ADD and that's just what I do.
I got ADD too.
Yeah, I know. I think it's kind of funny when I was, so my first corporate job was with Boeing. And when I first went there, I thought I'd take health insurance out for a run, because I never really had. They had what did Obama call it? Cadillac insurance. So at that time we had Cadillac insurance before the Affordable Care Act and stuff. And so there's a study for 8 people with ADD for the drug Silert. And so I volunteered, because I never took drugs for ADD. And I'm like, yeah. So they take this thing and they spend the first 45 days or so figuring out your dosage. So we figured out the dosage, and then they do another 90 days where you're taking it and you're supposed to keep a journal and all this kind of stuff. So we get to the end of the study, and my psychiatrist is asking me, do you want to continue the study? And I said, no, I don't. And then they go, well, what's your experience? I'm making it brief, but I said, well, basically, I don't like it. I feel lonely, feel like I could watch paint dry and be entertained. He goes, what do you mean lonely? I go, well, I'm used to having millions of voices in my head. They're all my own, but I'm used to having millions of voices in my head going on, and like just thinking thought to thought. And I got used to that. And so I know how to manage it. So I don't like this. So, that's another reason why, I go back. I thank my parents every day. It's like, thank you for not putting me on drugs. Thank you for not putting me in a special classroom. I learned how to do it as a struggle at first, but now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I got it. I don't got everything, but you know what I mean? So
yeah,
anyway.
but it taught you to believe in yourself, that you can show up to something even if it's challenging, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's just who I am. I didn't go to the ailment store and go, I'd like a dose of ADD and dyslexia and I want to be on the spectrum. No, that's you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think some people do that. I don't know. Anyway, so well, we already know this, but we can hit it again. So what are you the most passionate about right now in your life? And how does that feed your purpose? Or you can riff on that too, because we kind of already covered that.
I'll tell you what, every day that I show up and watch people improve their lives and suffer less, I'm not kidding you, I pinch myself that like, this is what I get to do for a living. And I like make it. It's unbelievable. And then, because I'm also ADHD and I've got creative thoughts going like this.
Oh, yeah.
Up, right? I decided to yank one down and start e-commerce, platform, marketplace for people in the helping profession. So like crazy enough, like I was telling you, designing a website and learning about code and all these things that were like a completely different language to me is kind of a new passion. I'm getting a kick out of it.
Well, one of our audience members will kick me if I don't ask. What platform are you using for your website?
Oh, what are we using? We're using, I always forget it. What's one
So
of the
there's
big ones?
Squarespace, Wix,
W.
WordPress.
WordPress. It's
Okay.
WordPress.
I can't remember if he's a WordPress guy or a Squarespace.
Well,
anyways, he would have killed me if I didn't ask that question.
If anybody knows WordPress, please reach out to me because it's been a little bit of a challenge.
Oh, what's her name? Charlene Brown, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'll forward you her name, but yeah, she actually has a, is it a WhatsApp or Instagram? Anyway, she helps people with WordPress. So yeah, and she's pretty cool. She's my sister.
Yeah.
I think her company's called Brooklyn Design. I don't know. Do you remember it, Rob? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah. Oh, he says WordPress.
That's
call him. He's saying call him.
Oh, okay. Robert. Okay, Robert.
Yeah, he'll help you. Yeah, Rob Berry. He's also known as Tag, the audit guy. He's a cool dude. Awesome. Yeah, we kind of make fun of each other and have fun.
Well,
I like him. He's my bro.
Someone with a sense of humor, because WordPress, we have someone doing it, but we're all new to it. So.
Oh yeah. He's well. And if you ever want to talk about microphones for your podcast, ask him that too.
Okay.
He once went into a riff about cardioid powered microphones and blah blah blah, and the placement and where you want to do them and what's the best microphone. And I'm a musician and everything, and I get that, but it just seemed like when he was going over it, it's like, okay, Rob, that's cool, but that's not what this thing we're talking about right now is. But that's cool. Get with him afterwards.
I'm glad someone knows about that.
Yeah. I love the guy though. He's written a bunch of books too, but they're on audit, so I use them when I want to go to sleep. Just kidding.
Poor Rob.
No. So you like to help people. So one of the last parts of the questionnaire is like, what advice or suggestions you have for our audience about finding and living their purpose, driven by their passions, or based on the conversation we just had, whatever you call them, your passions, your purpose, your flow. How do we get there?
All of them. So, I'm a coach, so everything's action oriented. So when I was thinking about this question, I kind of want to cover it for everybody, because it's very easy to be like, just move towards your passion. But for some people, they're not even sure what they're connected to, what their flow is, what their passion is. So my suggestion would be is to really kind of clear out the brain and think about, if there was a crystal ball, like, what would you want to do? Not like, is it feasible? Does it sound like dreamland? I have a job. I have 3 kids. It's just, what would you do? And starting there. And then from there, what I would do with a client is really take them through like, okay, now how do we take actionable steps towards that? Because normally if we're looking at stepping towards a passion or monetizing it, making it a career, it feels very overwhelming, right? And there's a lot of like factors into it. So what I do is I take my clients through looking at it from a financial lens, an intellectual lens, a physical lens, and an emotional lens. So what I would do is say, all right, what's one thing you could do in each one of those areas? So if it's financially, I need to save money in order to do this. Or maybe I don't need any financial backing and I can just go take that class for free down the street at the whatever. Intellectually, is there something that you need to learn about that particular passion? Or like I have a client right now who is an actor, and the work isn't coming, especially now with COVID. And so he's going to put a play on himself. But there's like a huge to-do list in that, right? So the step was just reaching out to people to say, hey, what are the first steps? I don't even know, so it wasn't.
You can have them connect with me, by the way.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
I acted for 25 years, directed plays, wrote TV shows.
Oh, that's
directed
awesome.
films.
Yeah, because he was thinking, I need to book the venue and I need to do this, and
Yeah,
there were
yeah,
steps before that, right? So like intellectually, what is one thing that you need to learn more information about, or whatever feels overwhelming? Physically, what do you need to do? Do you need to leave your job? Do you need to go run around the block a few times before you approach this so you can burn some of your energy? And then emotionally, right? Because we're always bringing an emotional component into everything we do. Like, do we need to hire a coach? Like we were talking
yeah.
about earlier about writing a book. Like I look at writing a book like climbing Mount Everest. I got all these ideas, but how in the hell do I put
Right.
that into a book? Right?
Everybody does.
I could talk to you. I could call you. I could have a consult. So
Yeah.
just taking one small step into like, what's the next kindest choice for me in this? And it might even just be having some support in it. I know there's lots of mastermind groups and things where you can have community. So kind of looking from that financial, intellectual, physical, and emotional. And then right there, you have 4 actionable steps that you could choose to take one step towards your passion, your purpose, and your flow.
Okay. And what are the 4 again? Financial.
Intellectual, physical, and emotional.
Cool. I just wanted to repeat them because it's an old teacher in me. Tell people you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them, and then it sinks in.
They say repetition is the mother of learning.
Yes. Yes, it is.
A good point.
Where's it? Oh, by the way, I have a WhatsApp writing support group. It's free. Just hit me up. I'll send you a link. I do like daily tasks. Not everybody does them, Rob, all the time. But I think it's got to grow and then it'll get better. But I think it's pretty good right now. People just do whenever they can. But yeah. Okay. So are we shameless self-promotion? Oh, I just like doing this. There's a whole thing I go through, but I'll just go straight to the punchline. Have you seen America Ferrara's TEDx talk?
No.
Oh, you know who America Ferrara is?
Yes.
Yeah. So apparently, and this is why I like it, because she approaches it from an acting, and even though obviously I'm not a what do you call them, full-figured young Latina, but I am, at least when I was acting, I was a skinny, nervous, Jewish, kind of average-looking dude, and from Chicago. So those attributes there. But she talks about how early in her career, I don't know if you know this, but, and I apologize, I say this all the time, but it's so true. Most casting directors are the least creative people on the face of the planet. So when you come in to audition, they already have set in their mind exactly what they want. It's like, oh, I want the new Urkel, or I want the new Jan Malkovich, or I want someone that looks like Scarlett Johansson, but has a voice like Lauren Bacall, but blah, blah, you know what I mean? Just, they have all these things in their mind. And then the first words out of your mouth, no matter how good an actor you are, they're like, out of here. Like, that's why I like Tootsie, because Tootsie talks a lot about that. Mrs. Doubtfire talks a lot about that too, in a funny way. Anyway, so America Ferrara does I think, one of the best TEDx talks ever. And she's talking about this earlier in her career, how people would go, oh, you're too full-figured. Oh, you're too Latina. Oh, you're not Latina enough. Oh, you're too young. You're too old. You're too this. You're too that. And then she has success with Ugly Betty and Superstore and the Traveling Pants and all the things she does. I love all her work too. But anyways, the punchline, and I hope I'm not ruining for people, but you should watch it anyway, is the one and only unique, authentic you. That is your genius, and that is your superpower. And and she ends with them just like, whoa. So all those things people criticize for her, she goes, that's not my weakness. That's not my whatever. That's my superpower. That's who I am. So my dyslexia, my ADD, your ADD, or whatever, that's your superpower. And that's who you are. So
I couldn't agree more. And I think that just talking about purpose and passion, like that's aligning that piece for you. Like I think it's the easiest and hardest thing in the whole world to just be yourself in this kind of unconscious
way.
Yeah.
Well, because then why do you think that is? The reason I think that is if you're your true, authentic self and you don't have the ego strength or the emotional fortitude, some people call it, and then someone rejects you, they are truly rejecting you because you were yourself. And if you're not ready for that, that could hurt. It's like if you're not being yourself, then you can you can fluff it off. It's like, well, you know what? That's just my corporate self, and that's not really me anyway. So that's no skin off my nose. But if it's really you, you're like, oh, wow, they don't like me.
Well, I think too, though, right? You're not for everybody.
Oh no, I know that.
Here
But
goes.
if you don't have the ego strength, or that could hurt.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the managing and tolerating feelings. Like I still hate rejection. It's my least favorite flavor of feeling. But now the way I approach it is like, oh, if something was taken out of my life, I've been spared every time. And now I have enough life under my belt to look back and go, oh, I'm so glad that person didn't like me. Oh, I'm so glad I was too ADD for that person, because look where they are and their life and where I am, and that's not aligned anymore. So you can always look back and go, oh, thank goodness I didn't get the things I thought I wanted. So to me, like rejection, right? It's more of like how we perceive it than if it's actually happening. It might even be happening for our highest good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe everything happens for your highest good, but sometimes it doesn't feel that way. Yeah, and that's why boundaries are so important. I can't talk. So I have, I took a screenshot of both classes, and then do you have any final thoughts? But we're going to go to shameless self-promotion next. So, but if you have any final thoughts about passion, purpose, or whatever, you kind of already hit them.
Oh, my final thoughts would be that just kind of like what you said, like every single person is amazing and has unique talents. And even if they don't fit into the box of what other people view as amazing and unique, like we need it. We need everybody to do their own passion, purpose, and be themselves. And if you need any support in doing that, or you need a cheerleader, you call me.
That was pointing at, yeah.
Right here.
All right, so now we can actually get specific about that too. And I'll put Robin's. I like to do best bits of each show, so I'll do 1 to 3 minute segments with kind of background music and a little lead in and go the best bits. And so on all those, I'll put your contact information in the comments so people can see them. But yeah, so this is the time where you get the plug. So you go first and then me. But do you want me to bring up the courses one at a time, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. But I had that one. So you got Shift Happens, which, you know what? Holy crap, am I dumb? I didn't get that until now.
You just got it?
Oh my God. And I use that expression without the F, people. Take the F out. I didn't get that until right now, and I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. That's hilarious.
There you
Anyways, you want to talk about Shift Happens?
Shift does
5 weeks to better relationships.
Yes. So the services I offer, I offer individual one-on-one coaching sessions. And I've been blessed to be a very busy coach. So my purpose is to help as many people as possible, to bring as much light and consciousness as I can to the planet. So I'm offering some classes right now. One is Shift Happens, 5 weeks to better relationships. So that's a 5-week course, once a week. It starts in May, and it is absolutely life-changing. And I'm not like tooting my own horn. These are the things that changed my life. You actually can shift in a short amount of time. So basically, I'm taking people through the process. I take my individual clients through just in 5 weeks. So you'll learn boundaries. You'll learn about parts of self that are getting activated out in the world, building a better relationship, and then creating the life that you want.
So I just want to interject one thing. It's shameless self-promotion, so you can toot your own horn.
It really is like thinking, and I really am that good.
I believe that about you. And then don't forget this one, the Building Better Boundaries Masterclass.
Now, Mark, we could have talked about boundaries this whole time. That's something I'm
very... Well, I could have you on back again, and we could, since we already did the questions, we could just do boundaries. It's one of my favorite topics on the planet.
Me too. So we need to do that. So this class is a 4-week class. Most of the work that I do is centered around boundaries, having healthy boundaries. Most people come to me and are very interested in learning on how to have better boundaries. So this is a 4-week class. I do sometimes some like one-offers on boundaries, and I just feel like it needs a little bit more time. So this would be 4 consecutive weeks where we are going to focus in on how to have better boundaries in all relationships in your life. And I'm going to give you actionable tools for specific relationships in each person's life. These classes are 6 people or less. So it's very small groups so that I can individualize and help each person.
I might take it.
It's amazing.
And but to me, boundaries are like so important. When I was a therapist, I mean, that I go, if I could just teach, if this person leaves here doing boundaries, because I think a therapeutic relationship should have a timeline to it. It shouldn't be forever. And so many, man, I'm dissing my former, anyways, too many therapists get enmeshed with their clients and will go on and enmesh this enmeshment for way too long. To me, most adult humans, for example, I had a friend who, she led a charmed life. So no one important to her left, died, whatever, until she was like 46. So she never learned how to grieve. So someone like that, to me, I would call for therapy, because most people in her life probably didn't know either. So just go in there. It's because if I'm your therapist, hey, you know what? We're going to take 2 to 6 sessions, whatever it takes. I'm going to go through. Grieving is a normal process. I'm going to teach you about that. Then once you have it, it's not going to make it any easier, but you'll understand, like, oh, okay, I'm angry. That's part of it. I got it. All right. But I mean, to me, most adults, that's it. Anyway. Anything else you want to plug? So individual service, the 2 classes.
2 classes, and that is it for now. Pretty soon a book.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if she's looking in the mirror, talking to herself 1.5 years from now, she'll be a best-selling author. And I could help with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, my selfless or shameless self-promotion is just, I have this show. I used to do it twice a week. I think I'm going to limit it to once a week. So I'm going to do Inside Leaders' Heads, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. Thursday, this is a really cool show. It's called Psych You In, with my co-host, Nat Stana, and that's at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that we talk about neuropsychology and neuroscience, and we bring a guest on, and we kind of like this one, but we don't focus on passion and purpose so much. Just kind of like, hey, how did you overcome this? Oh, when was a valley? When was a peak? Kind of like Tisha did with you a little bit. And then I'm going to bring back spontaneous combustion, where maybe I'll bring in that one, because that'd be a good place to talk about boundaries.
Spontaneous combustion sounds fun.
Yeah, so here's the tag for it. It's like spontaneous combustion, events for disruptors by disruptors. So the boundaries and all that kind of stuff. And then I always like to end, I mean, we'll come back from this banner, but then you like can say bye or whatever, final thing. But living your best life creates a better world for everyone. So everyone has a story. I think everyone should write a book, because everyone has a story, and you never know, even though the story is yours, I claim you don't own it. You should tell it to the world, because there's someone out there, you don't know what's going to happen, that you can inspire with your story. And then they might go on to do awesome things. Not that you don't do awesome things yourself, but just think of like that little ripple in the ocean, and then the other side is a good tsunami, not a bad destructive tsunami, but a big impact to the world. So I want to thank you very, 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 very infinity much for coming on to the show. This has been the reboot of Inside Leaders' Heads. It was awesome. This is Robin Breckenridge. I'll send you a copy of the video I'll upload it to my Google Drive, and then send you a link, and you can do whatever you want with it. And I'll be doing best bits over the next coming weeks or whatever, which is little snippets, and I'll put your contact information in the comments for that. So I just want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I didn't mean to do that.
And you know what? I wanted to share a quote. Is it too late?
No, not at all.
I think it goes with what I was talking about, my purpose. And I read this on Instagram, which is now a really great place to see quotes. But
okay, let me see if I can type it.
It says, ready?
Yeah.
I love when people that have been through hell walk out of the flames carrying buckets of water for those still consumed by the fire.
Okay, I got who've been through hell. What's the second part?
Walk out of the flames, carrying buckets of water for those still consumed by the fire.
Is anyone, is that attributed to anybody or is it anonymous?
You know what? I have to look real fast because it was something Sparkles. I forgot her first name. Hold on.
By flame, carrying buckets of water. Okay, what buckets of water? What's after buckets of water? For those
still consumed by the fire.
I love this quote.
Isn't that great? And her name is Stephanie Sparkles.
Why do I know that name? Is she on LinkedIn?
I don't know. I found
her. I think
her.
I might be connected to her.
It looks like she is from chasingthepresent.com.
Okay. So did I get it right? I love when people who've been through hell walk out of the flame. I forgot carrying buckets of water for those consumed by the fire.
By those still consumed by the fire.
Okay. I'll clean it up. But okay. Stephanie Sparkles, look up Robin Breckenridge. I will put her contact information in the snippets. I'll also put it in the comments, because what'll happen, just so you know, if you ever do LinkedIn Live, I did this through my profile, so it'll just pop up on my profile, the whole video as a replay going, Mark was live with Robin Breckenridge. And then I'll just put your information in there too.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Oh, no problem. So I just want to thank you again. And if you want to talk a little after, we can, but that's the end of the show. And I want to thank everybody for showing up. And Rob, for your comments, as always, funny, intellectual, all that good stuff. Rob's going to contact you about WordPress. And we'll see you next week.